Shalom, shalom, Mishpocha. Welcome to another edition of Ray Bash's Ramblings. Today, I'm going to be talking about financial woes. What could they mean? I just recently posted a blog about this, and I would like to read the blog to you. Because sometimes, when I put things in a blog, I say it best there, and maybe sometimes I can't articulate it so much, just kind of off the fly, so here goes. Despite what some people may think, the Scriptures doesn't teach poverty for the believer. For Abraham Avinu and the patriarchs were wealthy men. On the other hand, the Scriptures do not endorse the name it and claim it health, wealth, prosperity gospel either. I don't think that the majority of us have a problem with materialism in the sense like Alexander the Great was mourning because there was nothing left to be had, nothing else to conquer. Most of us don't mope around because we can't get that RV that we wanted or that we can't get that entertainment center upgrade to keep up with the Joneses across the street. However, materialism is nibbling at our pinky toes, and it's working its way up, like a maggot slowly consuming a dead animal. These devilish little worms eat away at our faith, for in the economic times here in the early 21st century, most of us are in debt, living hand-to-mouth, paycheck to paycheck. Bills rates have increased, but the pay hasn't. Creditors and repo men are circling around us like buzzards and vultures. And, when we think that things can't get worse, boom, the car breaks down, or a major appliance bites the bullet, or a family member is hospitalized, or we lose our job and we think, oh my God, we were barely making ends meet as it was. How are we ever going to make it? You can't even turn to charities because food banks are having more withdrawals than they are deposits. Only then, for a fleeting second, we get so desperate that we think that kissing a bus on the freeway is actually a viable option. We, like Israel, really wonder if God can send manna and quail and give water from a dry, dusty rock. Or we even wonder if he can send ravens like he did for the prophets. I'm reminded of a Vietnam POW, true story, who told me that he was buried alive. And the only way he survived is that God showed him a busted water main near his head, and he got fresh water all the time. And a squirrel, no kidding, a squirrel daily burrowed down into the dirt and left food on his chest for him to eat. And, so nonetheless, it didn't happen to us. So, we fear even more that we are even questioning our faith and God's ability to provide for even the most meager necessities of life. Thus, we may be eating more PBJs than we're accustomed to, but most of us aren't dumpster diving yet. Sure, I'm concerned too, but I think of our ancestors during the Depression of the 1920s and 30s. Many of them only went by with only one meal a day, and most of it was reruns. Day in and day out is either cabbage, or it was beans, or it was potatoes, and that was it. And they had to survive off that. Then I think of the ancestors that were in the Holocaust. They were even lucky if they got a meal a day. Some of them didn't eat for days on end, of course, and it wasn't their choice. So we haven't seen such hard times as those yet. We still have it pretty good. We're still living like kings compared to people that are living in third world countries. They're living on garbage heaps and are walking around like walking skeletons with these distended stomachs, If many of us will be honest, part of the reason that we're in this economic crisis is because of credit cards and poor financial decisions that we've made. In other words, we've dug our own hole. We've made our own bed, and now we have to lie in it. Kind of like somebody smoking like a freight train for years, and then all of a sudden they find out they have cancer. Do you really expect God to heal you from cancer if you brought it knowingly and willingly on yourself? Kind of the same thing with the financial situation. I'm not saying that God can't or won't heal somebody like that. I'm not saying that God can't or won't deliver us from such financial crisis, but we've got to do all that we can on our part. Where we lack and where we fall short, God will give the increase and God will provide where we're powerless. Because of the state of the economy, many people's faith have been tested and strained like a rubber band, and we're afraid that it's going to snap and lash us back in the face. I truly believe God is allowing these things to happen to test our faith, to humble us, to refine us, to draw us closer to Him in a more intimate way, to show us He is our all in all and our provider, to show us how much we can really do without, to make us mobile and ready to uproot and go wherever He says at a moment's notice, to draw believers together as a close-knit, self-sustaining community where we meet each other's needs. If we have food and clothes, those are the requirements for contentment. 1 Timothy 6:8 says, "And having food and raiment, let us therefore be content." Philippians 4:11, Rav Shul wrote from a rat, lice, infested, cold, damp, dreary dungeon, probably chained between some guards. He says, Now Now that I speak in respect of want, I have learned in whatever state I am in wherewith to be content. Hebrews 13:5 says, let your conversation, let your life be without covetousness, and be content with such things that you have, for he has said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Shelter isn't even mentioned as a requirement for contentment, and even Messiah wasn't too concerned about it, because he said in Matthew 8:20, he said, Yeshua said unto them, foxes have holes, birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man doesn't even have a place to where he can lay his head. I feel that we're being sent to some sort of spiritual boot camp of sorts to prepare us for what's ahead, to prepare us for the last great exodus when he brings his people back to the land. I think that we need to learn to do with less, and we need to bring up this next generation to do with less than what we have. I know the American dream is to make things better for our children, that they have more than what we had, but that's not how the end game is going to be played. Many of us can do without cell phones, second cars. Men, you can live without your big boy toys. Women, you can do without the extravagant amount of shoes and purses that you have. There's a lot of sacrifices we can make. There's a lot of things that we can sell online or sell in yard sales or whatever. Things that we think we need, we can sacrifice. We can give up. We may not need cable TV, and things like that. So, I'm not saying that we're going to be standing in a breadline tomorrow, but with prophecy clipping at a steady pace, we need to learn to do with less. We need to do our best to get out of debt. Whether it's through credit counseling, debt relief, consolidations, whatever. Get out of the hole, and also get your passports, because you never know when God will say, get up and move, and you go. So just want to let you know that I pray for all of my online friends and family every day, and I'm praying for all of us who are going through these financial difficulties and financial woes. So, shalom and shavua tov mishpocha. God bless.